If you like the sweet science, get ready to talk boxing on the Gloved Fist podcast with top boxing writers Frank Latirzo and Jack Hirsch. Frank, a former amateur boxer out of Philadelphia, writes for NY Fights and can be seen on the Boxing Channel. Jack, an amateur boxer who competed in the New York Golden Gloves, was a 6-term president of the Boxing Writers Association. And now, here's Frank Latirzo and Jack Hirsch.
And we're back. Welcome to Glove Fist. My name is Frank Latirzo, former writer, try to be full-time observer, joined by Jack Hirsch, former 6-term president of the Boxing Writers Association of America. Jack, we had some good fights this weekend. Maybe 2 of the 5 best fighters in the sport both fought this weekend. They both look good. I don't know where you want to go first, but there's a lot to chew on.
Yeah, 100%, Frank. I mean, this is going to be a great show. In about 10, 15 minutes, we're going to have on Anthony Joshua's next opponent, Kristian Prenga, and we'll talk to him about his chances against Joshua. But you're right, 100%. David Benavidez. Let's start with him, okay? The monster. He looks sensational.
2 monsters this weekend.
2 monsters, one called the Monster, Monster 1 and Monster 1A. Flip-flop them however you want at this point. And for the first time, Frank, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking David Benavidez, he could compete at heavyweight, I think. If David Benavidez was a full-time heavyweight, would he be the number 1 heavyweight in the world? I'm not ready to say that, no. But he would be one of the top heavyweights. He can put on more weight very easily. Okay, he fought at the cruiserweight limit at 200 pounds. I could easily see him coming in 215 to 220, not having to watch his weight at all. And he's got a big skill set. I mean, what do you think?
Jack, I thought that he fought a complete fight against Zoro Ramirez. I mean, he won every aspect of it. His hands inside, he's so incredibly fast. He doesn't need much room to punch. I mean, I know we had a guy in front of him with slow hands, but he's strong. He puts them together. He throws a lot of punches. There's nothing not to like about him, Jack. As far as heavyweight, I don't know. I'd like to see him at cruiserweight. It's obvious that Canelo wanted no parts of him. I would like to see him fight Beterbiev or Bivol next. I think they would be outstanding fights. I always liked him over Beterbiev. I wasn't sure about Bivol before. I thought I favored Bivol. I don't know about that. Now, all I can say is this. David Benavidez is an emerging star. I think he arrived this weekend as far as a stoppage win over a guy that's never been stopped. And Jack, look, there's not one negative thing you can say about his performance. He did what he was supposed to do and then some.
Frank, you yourself, you don't like when fighters are going up and down in weight. And Benavidez is now a cruiserweight. To have him make 175 isn't going to be so easy to do. He doesn't need the Bivol fight bad enough, even though it would be a great fight. It would be a super fight. I agree with that completely. But let me throw you a curveball. You're not sure about Benavidez as a heavyweight yet. You'd rather he keep away from the division. The guy who you have projected as the next big star in the heavyweight division, correct me if I'm wrong, is Moses Atamu, correct? And if Benavidez signed right now to fight Atamu, Benavidez could put on his weight, like I said, come in 215, 220, similar. Atamu's not a big heavyweight, I don't think. I think he weighs in the 220s, right?
I give Benavidez no shot, Jack.
You give him no shot at all. Wow,
no
wow. I'm surprised at that. I thought you would hesitate and who you would pick.
Why? Because Benavidez fights like a big guy, Jack. He's going to try to carry the fight to Atama, which he cannot do. So how does he beat him? Atama is a harder puncher. He has fast hands. Benavidez cannot run over him like he has these other guys. And even Ramirez, he didn't run him over. He kind of picked him apart and had to beat him up a little bit before he went after him. And I'll bet Ramirez weighed 220 that night.
Well, I'm talking about Benavidez's skill set. Let's just detour a little and then we can come back. The biggest actual fight this weekend was a Japanese fight. John to Inoue against Nakatani. I mean, that was a Naoya Inoue against Junko Nakatani. I'm sorry, I got the
Nakatani, right.
mixed up. But the thing about it, I mean, that was a terrific fight. Terrific fight. Inoue got a well-deserved decision. He was pushed to the limit. Nakatani can still be a major star in the sport. He wasn't beaten badly. It was a very competitive fight. 2 scores were 116. 1 score was 115.
It was a good loss.
Right. If Nakatani will look back on the fight and say, I could have done more in the early rounds. Had I swung a couple of rounds my way, it could have been different. But now you talk about the next super fight coming up, the Inoue. Okay?
Who's he going to fight?
Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. Possibly.
They'll beat Jesse, and I think Jesse's a great pound for pound fighter, but I just think that I think he's too small for Nakatani, for Inoue. And Jack, look, what we're seeing with Inoue is now I said he won a decision. You see he's going up in weight now. His punch isn't hurting guys as much as it was in the lower weights. And he's going to come up against some taller guys too. And Nakatani presented problems like that, especially towards the last third of the fight. He did impose his height and reach a little bit. But I love how Inoue, Jack, Nakatani was trying to get him to bite on feints, and Inoue would not do it. He would move a little bit, but he would never step out of position, and he was always in position to punch. And Nakatani was actually trying to get him to back off and reset, but Inoue did not go for the feints. He kept his feet in position and stayed in position to punch. I love that about him. And before I forget, Joe Bergman, I agree with you. I think he makes 175.
Frank, you analyzed the styles and everything. I hope you did your homework assignment instead of saying bleed you, Jack. Right, because we're going to have Kristian Prenga on. And is there any way we're going to tell him? There's always a way to beat someone. I don't care who the fighter is, Frank. There's always a door that could possibly be opened. Even if it's a 1% chance, a fighter has to be put in a position to win, unless he's so superior to his opponent that he could win on talent, and improvise on the spot. But against Anthony Joshua, I mean, who we're going to be talking about in a little while with Kristian Prenga, Joshua is flawed. You've pointed that out. As talented as Joshua is, he does have flaws. But the question is, his opponents, do they have the right style to take advantage of those flaws? Does it play to their strengths?
I watch Prenga, okay, and he does have some power, okay? But with Anthony Joshua, it's the same no matter who the opponent is. If you come out and you throw at him, you will put him on alert mode, and he will not bother you as much because he's afraid or he has trepidation about what's coming back at him. So if I'm fighting him and I can punch a little bit, I'm coming out in the first seconds of the fight and I'm throwing a kill shot to his head to let him know I'm trying to take your head off, because he likes the way he fights, Jack. He likes everything in front of him. He likes the table set. He likes things to go nice and slow, and he likes to dictate like he did with Jake Paul. He wants to be careful and just set up that big right hand. I'm going to put him on notice and let him know every time something happens, I'm going to grab you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to try to take your head off. I'm going to try to make it as ugly as I possibly can to rattle Joshua.
Well, we have Prenga's manager, Keith Sullivan, who's going to be coming on with him. I'm not sure. Is Prenga on right now? He's scheduled in a few minutes, but Keith is backstage. Let's bring him on now, Keith Sullivan. And if Prenga's ready, obviously him as well. Keith Sullivan here. Keith, is your fighter on 5-10 minutes?
Hi, Jack. Hi, Frank. Thanks for having me on. And thanks for letting Kristian come on and speak tonight. I just spoke to them. They left the gym about 15 minutes ago, and they said they'll be on time. So they knew they had to be on at 7:10, 7:15. So they'll be on any minute, I suspect.
First, I want to congratulate you far, and I'm sure Frank does as well, for a heck of a managing job. How on earth did he get you fight at this fight? Frank and myself up on things. He wasn't on our radar to think he could possibly get a fight with Joshua. I mean, how did you pull it off?
I'll back up the story a little bit to a couple of years ago. When I was in law school and college, I used to bartend. And everybody, I was going to law school and going to college, but everybody else that worked in the nightclubs and the bars with me, they were wannabe actors. And they would come in every week and tell me about their week of all the rejections they went through, all the closed doors that they had shut on them. So when I became a manager, I borrowed from their stories. And I said, I'm never going to be too egotistical, too embarrassed, or too ashamed to be rejected. So religiously, and you can check with the matchmakers for all the major promotional companies, every 6 to 8 weeks, I check in with them and I say, I have this list of fighters. Can you use them? Can we match them up? And I look at their cards and I say, this guy would be great in this jurisdiction because he sells tickets. And I just keep knocking on the door. And I end every conversation with them. One day we're going to do business. And Kevin Rooney called me up and said, you always said one day we're going to do business.
Kevin
and you're
Rooney
right.
Jr. Kevin Rooney Jr. I don't want
Kevin Rooney Jr. Correct, with Matchroom, the matchmaker for Matchroom.
Right.
And he called me up and said, you've always said we're going to do business together, and you're always hounding me. And I apologize to them. I say, I'm shameless. I'm not shameful. I'll be back in a few weeks' time. And you just keep on top of the promoters, and you kind of stay in their front of their mind. And when an opportunity comes up on their end, they think of you and they reach out to you. So that's how it happened.
I love that story. I think that's a life story right there. Follow up, stick to it. Look, I know so many guys in business today, they get calls, they don't follow up. Where like that today, that you need to do that. And the fact that you didn't get discouraged, and it's an old boys club, you may not be part of the club yet, and you have to keep working like that. I think it's great. I didn't know that story. I love hearing that dedication and that fortitude to stick to it. I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. And I'll tell you this much. Look, you're a big underdog. The other guy is a very talented guy. But Keith, let me tell you something. Because you're in the boxing game, that Anthony Joshua fights with trepidation and a little bit of fear. And if he thinks something big is going to come back at him, he will go into alert mode and he'll look for the perfect opportunity to set up his right hand. Look what he did with Jake Paul, because the threat that he could be embarrassed by a guy like Paul has not left his head. Anthony Joshua can be defeated mentally. He may have more horsepower than your guy. He may be the better thoroughbred, but there's a path to beat him, because up here he is flawed. If you can put that seed of doubt in his head early, you have nothing to lose. You're not supposed to win. You have nothing to lose.
I look at this fight as a lose-lose for Anthony Joshua. If he wins the fight, he was supposed to win the fight. Nobody gives him any credit for fighting Kristian Prenga and winning. If he loses the fight, he's done. He's finished. He has to go into retirement. If he can't win this fight, there's no way he goes on to fight Tyson Fury. No way. Absolutely. But remember, no way. So this is a lose-lose. And I think, to your point, he is mentally fragile. And let me tell you something. Kristian Prenga is the complete opposite when it comes to the mental game from AJ. He is a completely confident fighter.
Now,
remember this, Keith. Just one thing, Jack. And Keith, remember.
Take your time, Frank.
Keith, remember, you guys aren't getting a decision.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, because the
Fury fight space. I know the jurisdiction. I know.
The game. It's cooked in. But Anthony Joshua can be stopped. He can be stopped. And if you hit him and buzz him, he will not bother you the rest of the fight.
Yep.
No one breaks down styles of fighters better than Frank Laterzo. I mean, I would recommend anyone go to him for that type of breakdown. I see it a little differently than Frank. I think the key to beating Joshua is tiring him out, just wrestling in close. Prenga's a big guy. Get in close, wrestle, maul, tire him out. Then he starts becoming sloppy by the later rounds, and then maybe some damage to get caused there, and Prenga can get him out of there.
Jack, I agree with that. I agree, but you have to put the seed of doubt in him early before you can get to tire him out. You got to get in his head early. If you do that, it will be easier to make it rough, make it ugly, and make him uncomfortable. I'm psyched up, Keith. I'm sorry. I'm very excited for you guys.
Yeah. No, thanks.
Listen,
I appreciate that. What's like?
I'm going to definitely be subscribing to the Zone's Ultimate Package before that fight at some point. I can only hold out so long.
I definitely think roughhousing AJ is definitely a part of the game plan. We're not going to give out all our game plan, but that is definitely a part of it because that takes him out of his comfort zone. If you stand in front of him without head movement, you're front and center. That's his kill zone. You're getting cremated. That's the kill zone for AJ. Front and center. He's comfortable. You're at the end of his jab. Few jabs. He comes in with the right, and it's all over for whoever he's fighting. I don't care. But people said like, who is Kristian Prenga? I have a better question. Who has AJ fought in his last 6 fights? Otto Wallen, Robert Helenius, a YouTuber, a UFC fighter, and he lost to Dubois. This is a guy who's supposed to be at the pinnacle of the sport, and that's the killer's row that he's fought in his last 2 years of fighting? That's pathetic.
Well, don't put him down too much, Keith, because if you beat him, you want to get credit for it.
Yeah, well, I think the one name that he defeated, your guy, who's recognizable, Joey Dwechko, if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, correct me, the Philadelphia heavyweight. The fight before Prenga stopped him in 5 rounds, he went 5 rounds to Richard Torres, Olympic silver medalist, unbeaten heavyweight, highly touted by Top Rank. So that comparison actually favors your guy. Now, let me ask you this, as a manager, you got to work until the very end on this fight. Just signing the fight isn't enough. And the feeling is your guy can't win a decision. That's the feeling. But you have to psych yourself to think we can win a decision if we have to. And now it's the judges. How hard are you working on the judges? Is the referee a lot more important in a fight like this than the judges?
I think they're equally important because it is going to be 2 big heavyweights. It's going to be a lot of roughhousing in there. I think the referee is a critically important component of the officials. But, as Frank pointed out, like Matchroom is running the show. This is Matchroom's prized possession. I don't think Eddie Hearn likes anybody more than himself other than AJ. That's the one person he would put ahead of himself. And I know the jurisdiction we're in. I know the venue we're in. I know the commission we're dealing with, the Saudi Arabian commission that's in bed doing business with Matchroom. So I get that the deck is stacked. I don't see this fight going to a decision.
I don't either. Either way.
Kristian, we're not naive. We know what the statistics are. We look at the betting line. We've watched the tapes. But this is heavyweight boxing. This is like watching home run hitters get up to the plate. One swing of the bat, one throw of a punch, it can change a person's life for good or bad.
And you're going up against a guy who you can put the seed of doubt in his head. I mean, think about the pressure on him. Like you just said, Joshua was supposed to win. If Kristian throws some big shots at him and makes him a little leery, he's going to start thinking, hey, wait a second, I can't lose this guy. I don't want to get caught and stopped by this guy that nobody knows right now. It's like, Jack, I disagree. You know what? Sure. Beat the hell out of him the whole fight and get the decision. But you know what? You have to go with a mindset that you're probably not going to get it, and you got to take it out of the business hands.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Keith as a manager has to motivate himself, which I know Keith will do beyond a question of a doubt, to get the right judges. It's unlikely any judges you get that it's going to either go to a decision or be that controversial, that close nip and tuck. But then again, you could never tell. Who would have thought with Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou, the judges were going to be pivotal? We would have thought they'd be completely unimportant in that fight. So you kind of never know in that respect. I just thought of a great gimmick. If Frank's thing is to unnerve Joshua, if you could somehow arrange this for Tyson Fury, for the ring introductions, give him a corner spot. He won't actually work the corner. He comes out with Prenga and they're both staring at Joshua. It might throw Joshua off his game a little. That could be kind of Hail Mary. And
Fury would never partake of that, Jack, because Fury wants Joshua to win because that's the big money.
Fury is crazy enough that he might actually want Prenga to win.
Jack, to your point, Jack, and Prenga just texted me and said they're trying to log in now, so hopefully they'll be on in a minute. I thought about that.
Let us know when they're on.
Okay, I thought about that strategy of using Fury to outpsych AJ, but to Frank's point, I said, no, Fury wants that AJ fight. He wants the big bucks more than anything.
Right.
So he doesn't want Prenga to win this fight.
He wants Prenga to beat him up over 12 rounds and not get the decision.
Now, you have a rematch clause with Joshua if you win the fight, but the length of the rematch, what does it have to take place within what time frame?
I think it's within 6 months. But I to be honest, if Prenga wins this fight, AJ's done. Mark my words. There's not going to be a rematch. There's not going to be a Tyson Fury fight.
I would agree with that. I don't know how he comes back from that.
Let's with Prenga. Let's say he does win the fight, then there's no AJ fight, no rematch.
Line him up.
Kristian Prenga's on. Let's bring him on right now. Hey, Kristian, and he has a translator. What's his translator's name, Keith?
Sammy.
Translator's name, Sammy. How you doing, Sammy?
How's it going?
Hey, Sam.
Jack Hirsch,
hey, Kristian.
Co-host Frank Laterzo, and obviously, the man on the bottom of the screen, Keith Sullivan. Congratulations on getting such a big fight. Would you have thought a few months ago you're going to be the center of the boxing world in July that weekend? You're going to be all over. You're going to be center stage. You're going to be the main actor, main figure, perform on Broadway. I mean, how does it feel?
Urimet të që kem marrë neshën me AJ-n, është diçka shumë e madhe, a kishe menuar ti sot para 3 muajve për shembull, më pa thonë se kjo do të që kishe më konë këtë pikë ku je tash.
Faleminderit shumë për urimin. Me thënë drejtën nuk është se e kam menuar me qenë ka shpejt atje, por është se kam vite që punoj rradhës për këtë e kam prit këtë. Më ardhi neshë e madhe atje, por nuk është se mund të kem prit më ardhë një emër ka që masë kur është AJ. Edhe jam shumë krenar që më ka ardhe fight.
Thank you so much for the wishes, he says, and he's been working hard and been working towards this for a very long time, and that was his goal. He did not expect it to be as soon as it did happen, but he's honored to have the fight, and he's ready for it, and he's very happy that it is happening.
A lot of people are dismissing Kristian's chances, not giving him much of a chance. Is that the way he wants it to be? Does he want people to think he doesn't have much of a chance? So if he does win, it just makes it even bigger.
Shumë njerëz thotë nuk janë ka japën kreditin që duhet, nuk janë ka ka çojnë zonën altë se ka me bokshu, ka me bashkë. Ai pëlqen thotë këtij mënyrën se çysh është si dash, thotë se shumë njerëz nuk janë ka japën kredit e kur të fitojnë ka me surprizu këtë edhe më fort.
Kjo është më mirë sa se më pëlqen shumë fjalë. Kam jau tregu gjithë me 25. Mënyra më mirë me tregu me 25 sa me fol me fjalë.
He says that I never was big on talking, and I don't like to talk a lot. And I like it this way, that they don't think much of me or they don't want to chant me a lot. He goes, but he will show himself first and then everybody else of who is on the 25th.
Yeah. Just before you ask a question, Frank, our producer, Brian, Kristian Prenga's the fighter to the left. You have his interpreter, Sammy to the right. By all means, keep Sammy's name on, but get Kristian's, on there. Someone's just tuning in so they see who he is, because you guys are hoping that come July 25th, Kristian Prenga is going to be a household name. You have anything to ask him, Frank?
Sammy, ask Kristian without giving anything away. Has he watched a lot of Joshua? Does he see some paths for him to take advantage of? What, break him down as a fighter, like basically, again, don't give me the game plan, but does he see things that he thinks he can exploit the night of the fight?
Po më kallëzu thot sekretin e juve, pa dalë fjala se që keni planin për me fitue. Thot veç kallëzëm, a keni pa diçka thot që ka ai që mundet me ju ndihmu ju për me fitue. A keni farë plani, a keni pa gjona që të bojnë ty me edhe më confident për me fitu nation.
Mendoj se s'është se e kam pa vetëm unë e gjatë, e gjatë din gjithë bota ka pa se vetëm e gjatë që është ai nuk ka qenë.
Right. He said the only thing that I will say is something that it's not just me that I've seen it or the team. Everybody has seen it. AJ has no chin. The rest,
no jab or no chin?
No chin.
No chin. Okay.
Yeah.
And the best way to take advantage of that is to give him something to think about early in the fight. Put that seed of doubt there.
Yeah,
Kristian never.
Sorry?
Yeah, Kristian's never fought in Kristian, you've never fought in an atmosphere this gigantic in a fight of this magnitude, and AJ has. Do you think that gives AJ any advantage over you, as he's had so many big fights in big stadiums, big crowds? And realistically, as impressive as your record is, impressive as a lot of your performances may be, you've never fought in this type of setting before. What's your reaction to that?
Nuk e pas në herë kundërshtar që ka shtë masa ki këta. Nuk e pa nation në stadiumet në dhaja si që ka bo kë. Nuk e pas kundërshtar të tjilë. A me në thot se ka me dhonë kjo avantaj atina, atë e ka me dhonë disadvantaj ty, apo si me nëmë ti?
Me nëse s'ka me më dhonë nej disavantaj, sepse gjithë janë rritë prej të vogël janë botë në dhej, se asë janë s'ka direkt I madhë, po me nëse s'ka më dhënë si gjatë. Me nëse ka me pas shumë tifozat mi, ma mërmenja dhe tjetë, nuk po thanë gjysa stadiumit, po shumë dhe kemë shumë tifozat mi.
So, it's not a disadvantage for him because he says that everyone came from somewhere and grew and became where he is and got where he is. So it's just the same thing for him, and he's not going to feel lonely over there either, because not half of the stadium, but a huge percentage of the place is going to be filled up with his fans.
And Keith, a question to Keith Sullivan. Is there any strategy you and Kristian are going to work on for the post-fight press conference to maybe get inside AJ's head? Is the idea to be quiet, a low key, and hope, or be a little loud?
You said post-fight, but I think you mean pre-fight press conference.
Pre-fight, right.
Pre-fight.
To Frank's point,
Pre-fight.
We're going to get inside AJ's head long before that press conference ever starts. Trust me. We already have a strategy. I already have my managers, my PT Barnum mindset going. We're going to get inside and be living inside AJ's mind long before that press conference ever takes place. I wouldn't want to be in AJ's mindset for the next 12 weeks. It's a terrible place to be because, like I said at the beginning, this is a lose-lose situation for him. For everything that AJ has, amateur experience, 2 Olympic medals, 2 or 3-time world champion, millions upon millions, all the wins he's had, all the accolades. Kristian has none of that. He hasn't been privileged enough to have that. But what he has is heart. He has the pressure and the burden and responsibility of his home country, Albania, on his shoulders, and he wears that tremendously respectfully and forthright. And he has tremendous confidence. He is the polar opposite of AJ when it comes to the mental game. As you can see now, he's just calm, relaxed. He doesn't care if he's fighting in a phone booth in Atlantic City or he's fighting on the world stage in Saudi Arabia. It's going to have no effect on him whatsoever. And that's a mentally tough, mentally strong fighter who's ready to shock the world come July.
It's 100%.
What is Kristian's experience as far as how long has he actually been training as a fighter? To anybody who wants.
Fighter.
I start. First thing I start taekwondo. After I change, after 3 years kickboxing, I fight for kickboxing for 5 years, and after I turned pro right away in 2016.
So Kristian was a kickboxer before he boxed?
Two
Yes.
times European champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, I like that. I like that as far as the mindset goes, as far as he's been kicked so we know he takes a shot. So if AJ just thinks he can come in and just touch him and he's going to fall over, well, that might not be the case.
No, I promise you, no, it's not gonna happen like that.
I like that mindset, brother.
But
I'm very happy for you. I like where you've come from, and I'm going to pull for you. I know you're a big underdog, and I know a lot of people say the same things you're saying when they're in that spot. But you know what? You have control of all that. You can't control anything leading up to the fight. You can't control them. Who referees it, who judges it, how many people come, how many tickets you get. The only thing you control, brother, is what you put into that between now and fight night, and make it where in order for him to beat you, he's going to have to kill you.
John, you're turning my
Thank you.
co-host into a fan. I mean, Kristian, he's supposed to be impartial. He's
I'm
like
coming.
a fan. He goes, I wish you the best of luck. Don't get me wrong,
I
but
really appreciate
Frank
it, brother.
became a
Thank you.
fan.
I'm coming from a really small country, but I have a big heart. I promise you.
You do, but
I like where I love your mindset and where you're coming from. It's like I would love to see you take care of this. And it's like, look, I like Joshua, but he's had his time, and I think he's a flawed fighter. And Jack will tell you, I've been saying that since we've been on this show. It's like you get in his head, you put something on him. Let him know that this is not going to be a fun night, and you are one exchange away from being knocked out. And then you get in the back off a little bit, then you go get him.
Did you, Kristian?
Easy for me to say, I know, I'm not fighting him.
Ajo ka pas kohën e vet, tash koha jote, sa të fillojnë ndeshja, thot me fillu
Oh,
me
fine.
bërë me ra I herë, me dit ai si, okay, edhe një punch edhe në çon tokë,
Yeah.
thot, kaç ka me.
Yeah.
We're only going to keep you on a couple of more minutes because we know you're in training and you were good enough to come on. But in your wildest dreams, a few months ago, considering all the venues you fought at, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think you could get a fight of this magnitude all of a sudden? And a lot of credit we have to give to your manager, Keith Sullivan. I mean, for getting a fight like this. I don't know how he pulled a rabbit out of the hat to get it, but, you know, one way or another, he got it done, you know, whether he got lucky or whether he's a genius, doesn't matter. The bottom line is, you know, you're having really the opportunity of a lifetime here. So do you feel an absolute urgency, more so than in any other fight, that you absolutely have to take advantage of this opportunity because it might never come again if you don't take advantage of this?
Thot para disa muaj, thot një në randrat më të mëdha aty, më të shmendën, thot a kishë mendu një herë, kishë mund me pas ato në që kemi bën neshën që ta, në këtë vend ku I ke bë. E dyta, e dytë me thot që punën më të mëdhe më hanë ka siguruar Keith, ka nuk e di a kanë me fat, është vetë shumë I mirë, po që ka siguruar këto, është e pa besueshme që e ka bë. Edhe and what was the last one was what?
Is there an urgency that he
yeah.
feels he absolutely has to win this? Because if he doesn't, he might never get an opportunity like this again.
Atje a Keith pak më perfekcion se është shansi më si tu ka dhënë mos me fitu që ta thot nuk vjen më shans sikur shkën dorë.
Nuk është se kam menu para 3 muaj se më vjen kjo neshje, me thënë drejtën, se kam prit me bën neshje edhe një couple more fights. Po erdhi edhe unë besoj shumë Zot edhe ma ka pru I madhe Zot, jam lut gjithmonë çdo ditë çdo natë jam lut për këtë. Për kjo dhe ma solli I madhe Zot.
Okay.
Ndërsa e dyta sa për Keith mendoj se Keith është Chelsea.
Okay. So he did not, even on his dreams, the wildest dream, he did not think that this will happen as quick. But he said in my head, I was definitely thinking a couple more fights, and then soon enough, I'll be into something like this, like either this or something different, but close by. He's a big believer in God, and he prays a lot, and he feels that has a big part on his where he is right now and where he's going. He prays day and night, and he's a churchgoer regularly, has always been. So that's a big part. As far as Keith, yes, he is a genius, and Keith is the key to all this. He opened the door.
Okay, well, Frank, before we let Kristian go, do you have any last thoughts, any last question to ask him before we let him go? Because he is in training. We don't want to keep him here too long.
Thank you, sir.
Best of luck to you, and put the seed of doubt in his mind early and just let him know I'm not the easy win you think I am.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Jack, let me just add one thing before we go. I also am devoutly religious, and Kristian and I share that in common, and we're doing a lot of praying that we're going to win this fight, and bigger things are going to happen beyond this. But beyond just praying, we're preparing, because you can't just say a prayer. You got to prepare as well. We're bringing in Scooter as our strength and conditioning coach, one of the best in the game.
Great. Scooter Honeck is great. Great. Yep. I could vouch for him. Great.
And Kristian has worked with him in the past, and they've gotten along. Kristian's coach, Muhammad, he does some strength and conditioning, intense strength and conditioning with Kristian as well. So we have that. We have a nutritionist coming on board, and we may bring a sports psychologist to do some visualization drills with Kristian as well. We're going to see him. We have a massage therapist working with him. So we're putting everything into this camp to give him the best opportunity to win on the world stage in Saudi Arabia in July.
Sure.
That sounds great, man. The only thing you control, brother, is what you put into it. And Anthony Joshua was going to look to end the fight with the right hand. Take that away from him, and you have a great shot.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Kristian Prenga, hopefully, by this time next year, you're going to be on the show. We'll say World Heavyweight Champion Kristian Prenga. We'll have a title to put before your name. Sammy, we really appreciate you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
And Keith, all the best, guys.
Thank you, brother.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on. And this is the first interview. We've gotten a lot of interview requests from around the globe, a lot from England, a lot from here in the States, some from Albania. And we haven't let Kristian speak to anybody because we promised Jack and Frank that he'd come on your show first. So,
correct. Yep.
He'll have more interviews later on in the week, but we wanted to make sure you guys had the first crack at him.
Well, listen, Kristian, after you beat Anthony Joshua, don't get too big where you'll forget about us to come back in the future, though, okay?
No.
Well, no, we know you won't.
We have a saying where we come from that we're always with our feet in the ground. We don't get like that. So nope, we won't forget.
I know. Okay, best of luck, guys. Good luck.
Well done, guys. Keith, good job. Good job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, Keith, thanks a lot.
Just a minute.
Yeah. I mean, Kristian, very impressive, Kristian Prenga. Very, very impressive fighter. And I'm going to tell you, Frank, what impresses me is they're leaving no stone unturned. I mean,
you can't, Jack.
Nutritionalists, sports psychologists, what more can they get, Frank? You're right. More? I mean, he's being given the full resources. You know what this reminds me of a little bit, what Chuck Wepner said. He'd always fight, on short notice or just go to the gym. And when he fought Ali, it's the one time he had the best of everything. He went away to training camp. He was given things he was never given before to prepare and came up with a very representative showing. I know Kristian wants more than that. And we'll see. He's still a big underdog any way you look at it. Let's be honest about it. He's entering this fight is a big underdog. But you said something of interest, Frank. Maybe educate me a little on this. Because he was a former kickboxer, you indicated that would make him tougher and be able to take a better punch than the traditional boxer.
Not so much Jack that he could take a better punch, but he's been, what I like about that is he's been tested. So when he does get hit, okay, he's used to combat. He's used to feet coming at him besides fist. Okay, so he's used to that combat. So if he does get clipped or hurt or whatever, he's not going to panic. He's been in the fire. He's fought. He's been in the fire. I know kickboxing and boxing are different. Look, Francis Ngannou had been kicked, punched, and everything, and never stopped or dropped. Joshua put him down with one shot. It's different. I mean, the mindset that he brings. And look, Jack, he's not as gifted as Joshua. I mean, they're not on the same planet. You could make a case maybe they shouldn't be in the same ring. But with Anthony Joshua, there's that one cog in the armor, and that's big. That's big. Anthony Joshua he has so much to fear. He has the big fight with Fury. He has the thoughts of getting embarrassed by a guy that has no name, that nobody knows, by getting maybe stopped by a guy who we know he picked because he thought he could beat him. It's like he went to the restaurant and said, I'll have a little of this, a little of that, and a little of that. And when you put it all together and they bring the dinner out, it's Kristian Prenga. Okay, so he has all that going against him. And this kid, I did watch him, Jack. He's not fast. He's not a great boxer, but he does have some power, and it is heavyweight boxing. So it's a one punch away.
But we got to consider this too. Joshua's camp Matchroom, not Joshua himself. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, their scouts or whatever. They're the ones that picked Prenga. Okay? I mean, Prenga obviously didn't pick Joshua. Prenga would have taken any big fight, I believe.
Right. Because that's the position where he's at on the totem pole.
They would have fought Tyson Fury, for example.
Right.
Whatever. But could Anthony Joshua have picked someone else that could have been safer? I mean, for Anthony Joshua, this is a tune-up. That's how it's going to be regarded. And the reason they're announcing the Tyson Fury fight is taking place, in part, is so no one can criticize Joshua fighting Prenga because he's already supposedly set to fight Fury based if he's going to win this fight. But what's interesting too, if Prenga should upset Joshua, Keith Sullivan said no, Joshua wouldn't want a rematch. He's done. And we wouldn't be obligated to give him the rematch. It has to take place within 6 months, too, okay, supposedly. So that would be a quick turnaround if that were the case. But I kind of wonder if Joshua just has a bad night, do they go at it again? Is Joshua really done if he loses this fight?
I would think that he'd retire. I do. I think he'd retire. That's what I think. What would the sense be? He has more money than he can spend. Why would he continue? His goal would be he wants to be the champion. It's like if he cannot be Kristian, then it's over. It's over for him. So it's like I don't think he fights again. But Jack, look, let's be honest. And we basically said this, but we didn't. He was picked because they see him as an easy win. And look.
Yeah. That's what
based on this little bit of tape I saw, if I was lining up a guy to fight Anthony Joshua, knowing what's on the line for him that he has to win, I would pick a guy that's big, a guy that's not terribly fast, a guy that's not elusive, a guy that he can hit, a guy that's going to try to knock him out so he doesn't have to go look for him to land his shot. That would be the menu I would order from. This guy has it. But if he has a chin, he can get Joshua rounds. And the more rounds, the more pressure goes on Joshua. If he has a chin and he doesn't crumble with that, like, say, Otto Wallen did when he got hit with the first big right hand, or the way, who was the guy that Fury knocked out in one punch that Joshua took 3 rounds, but it was like first time he hit him? Who was that guy? I don't think he fought again.
Ngannou?
No. I forget, Jack. These years run together anymore. But the point
Fury did
is,
what?
no, Joshua stopped him in 3, and then Fury stopped him in 1. Fury stopped him with one right hand the first round in New York at the Barclays Center, I think. I forget the guy's name.
I don't recall. I mean, yeah, that specific
I'll
thing.
tell you in a second.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
But Frank, Kristian Prenga on paper looks good as well. He has a record of 20-1.
Right.
He's knocked out all his opponents in his victories, and the one loss happened early in his career. So his last 16 opponents he knocked out. So he has a 16-fight winning streak.
Right.
Off stoppages. And I'm going to tell you, Frank, you know the mindset being a former fighter as well. Nothing
Dominic Brazil is the guy, Jack.
Oh, right. Okay. But 16 stoppages in a row. Just the
He's
idea
confident
of having that success. I don't care who the stoppage is against.
Right.
Your confidence is going to grow. So even though we're looking at Prenga, I mean, as Joshua being this heavy favorite, in Prenga's own mind, he's a winner. He doesn't look at himself as being inferior to Joshua. And if this interview he did with us now is any indication, he seems like a pretty calm, cool cat. Not unfazed. He doesn't seem to get rattled. He just kind of laughs it off, you know. And Joshua's not going to try to psych him out beforehand. It's not Joshua's style.
You know, and that's what I was wondering when they said how they're going to try to get in Joshua's head. I meant to ask him, are you going to go like a little crazy, or are you going to do it underhanded and on the sly? Because if I was fighting Joshua, I would be nice to him. I would be as calm to him. I'd praise him to the hilt the whole way. And then on fight night, I'd show up and I would try to kill him.
But he doesn't seem like a braggart. Everyone has their own style. Remember, I don't know whether you remember what Angelo Dundee did when Jimmy Ellis fought Ali. He switched over for one fight, even though he trained both. He was with Ellis. He was giving out
He managed Ellis too.
Right. He was giving out postcards, Angelo Dundee, to anyone who could get him around the gyms of Ali being knocked down by Frazier. And this postcard said it happened before and it can happen again. And kids were running up to Ali to get it autographed. Anything they were getting their hands on. And Ali had a good sense of humor. But mind games, I don't think Prenga himself is going to initiate a mind game. His manager, Keith Sullivan, is going to try to think of something. And I got to believe, and I have no inside info with this, no inside info. It got to involve Fury, any mind games. Maybe they have Fury show up at the press conference, anything to get Joshua's mind off Prenga, maybe, and get him unfocused. I think the best thing you could do with Joshua, if you're Prenga, is not to get him mad, get him unfocused, get his mind on Fury, get his mind on other things. Have him not even think about this darn fight. You know, and then the bell rings, and all of a sudden, Prenga's hanging around. He's not being knocked out, and Joshua's starting to struggle. And like you said, doubt might creep in. And if doubt starts creeping in, now anything could happen. Anything could happen at that point. It becomes a battle of Joshua feeling, wow, I got to just, do enough to win a decision. I got to fight 7-8 more rounds, and I'm tired already. And then he might think, I got all the money I need. I don't need this anymore. You never know what goes through the heads of these guys.
The only thing I think they'll be a little different. Look, Joshua was very, very careful with Jake Paul, and I do think because he just couldn't lose to Jake Paul. So I think he was really, really careful. I don't think he'll be as careful this time because he's fighting another heavyweight, a real fighter, and there's not quite that kind of pressure on him where there was with Jake Paul. But I still think he comes to the ring with trepidation, and if you fire back at him, I do think he does look to avoid exchanges. If Kristian has a chin, Jack, it gives him a shot because Joshua can punch. There's no doubt about that. And he's going to land.
Now, as impressed as we were with Prenga during the interview, It's only an interview. And
Right.
his victories, he's basically dominated his fights with his victories, with his own knockouts. But you never know until they get in the ring. Is Prenga truly coming to win, or would he be content with a very good showing? He loses the fight, maybe gets stopped in 8, 9 rounds, but rocks Joshua once, or loses a decision. What's his mindset? Is his mindset that of a winner? Because look at Fury's last fight against Makhmud Ardayev. His opponent, it wasn't really coming to win. His opponent seemed satisfied to just give Fury a decent fight and leave it at that.
But Jack, I think that morphed once the fight started. I think he came into the ring with the mindset to win, but I think after 3 or 4 rounds, I think he realized it's probably not going to happen, and then he looked to try to go the distance and maybe make a show or score a flash knockdown. And I think that'll be the case here. I think this kid will come in with the mindset to win. Once they touch gloves, who knows what can happen from there, from that point on.
Frank, and things could happen just the opposite. Let's say we were advising Joshua, do you tell him, hit Prenga with your hardest punches immediately, just so he'll be glad, so he'll have a mindset, I'm just glad to be here. I just want to come up with a representative.
I went from 7th grade to a senior in high school, and it's like, maybe I should have gone through a couple more grades. Right.
I mean,
you could do that too.
We don't know what goes in certain fighters' heads, because Prenga's on the big stage. Does he truly believe he belongs? And he might not even know the answer himself until the fight unfolds. If he truly believes he's going to win this fight, okay, I can win whatever, he's going to keep that focus all fight, no matter what, no matter how rough things get. And we both know Joshua's the type of fighter, he could dominate the first 8 rounds hypothetically. They could be one-sided, and then he could suddenly unravel. I mean, we saw even in his great victory over Vladimir Klitschko, there was 1 round in the middle of the fight, he started to completely unravel. And of course, we saw Andy Ruiz that lost. He unraveled in that fight. When he got hit the shot to the temple, he didn't recover.
Jack, here's what we know. We know Anthony Joshua is not going to come out like a house of fire. That's not who he is, and that's not what he does. We know that. So for Prang, he has that advantage to know Joshua's going to come out and he's going to try to feel him out and have a nice, quiet, easy first round, throw a couple jabs, maybe lull him to sleep and sneak him with a right hand. But we know Joshua is not going to come out to kill him. And to me, that's where the window is to send the message to put Joshua on his heels. I mean, Jack, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, is the guy good enough or not to win? Okay. On paper, it doesn't look it. But because boxing is a lot mental as it is physical, and you know that he's not going to come out hard and go through the gears in the first round like other fighters that we know. It's like that will leave him open to get hit because he'll want to survey, he'll want to keep his distance a little bit, he'll want to see how he reacts to jabs. You got to touch him with something big. I mean, look, didn't Customato tell that to Ali in the Foreman fight? He says, you got to go out and hit him with something big. You got to let him know. This is not the other guy.
Got that. You know what D'Amato actually got that? He had to get it from Gene Tunney, because Gene Tunney always said that his first fight with Dempsey, he wasn't thought of as being a puncher. This thing was, as soon as the fight started, hit Dempsey his hardest punch, just to put that doubt in Dempsey's mind. I can't walk through Tunney. That's where it actually originated from. But D'Amato said it. He said it to Ali against Foreman. And when George Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez, he invoked the D'Amato line to hit him a hard punch immediately, kind of make your mark. Keith Sullivan also manages like Price Taylor, the heavyweight who we had on this show.
I like this guy's mindset better.
Yeah, Price is firm in his views. I mean, he's confident, but like Price is trying to convince us he doesn't need to road work. His legs are strong, and it was telling us how he would beat Usyk. He's really confident. I don't think Prenga is as analytic. I think Prenga is going to go through a training camp, get into great shape, train as hard as could be, and they're going to have a strategy, and then he's going to try to carry that strategy out. But they have a big build-up to get in shape. When you think of it, it's the beginning of May and it's late July.
That's when the fight is, late July. I was just going to ask you. I knew it was in July.
July 25th. So if you keep training all the way through, man, oh man.
So he's got all May, all June, all July, basically.
Yeah, so Prenga is going to be in great, great shape. He's always in shape anyway, but now he's going to have the best of everything. He's going to be in incredible shape. I wonder with Anthony Joshua, how hard he's going to be training. I have no doubt Joshua is going to be doing training.
I think he's a gym rat, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's dedicated. But, you kind of wonder, is Joshua's mindset, I'm going to train the last 8 weeks. The last 8 weeks would make it the end.
Well, that's actually a long camp if he trains 8 weeks. But
yeah, maybe not a camp or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? But everyone.
But he can't have that, Jack. He can't have that mindset because Joshua's he's been upset before. He knows he's not unbeatable. If there's any fighter that knows he's not unbeatable, it's Anthony Joshua. So he can't take nothing for granted.
Frank, but this reminds me of when, maybe it's not the best example, but when Pete Rose wasn't in the Hall of Fame, he's still not. The new Hall of Famers, all they'd be asked about, do you think Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame? All Josh was going to be asked about in the lead up to this fight is Tyson Fury. He's going to be asked more about Tyson Fury than he is Prenga. And they're going to say, oh, by the way, what do you know about your opponent, Prenga? They're going to ask him the same basic questions about Prenga. And Joshua is going to go.
But he knows how to handle all that, Jack. He knows this game. I mean, he's 36 years old. He knows what's important. But he's been down this road so many times.
Yeah, but this is his first gimme fight. Supposedly, he's had it
since he turned pro, since his first 10 fights.
No, I mean Jermaine Franklin. He was supposed to look good at about 3 fights ago. Stop him. It didn't quite happen. They were a little disappointed. Daniel Dubois was a big fight, competitive. Even Otto Wallin represented a little bit of a threat in people's minds because Wallin had given Tyson Fury a good fight. So,
Jack, doesn't Wardley fight this weekend against the Dubois?
Oh, right. We got so carried away with the interview. Fabio Wardley against Daniel Dubois. Good heavyweight fight. Implications.
Right, that's on the zone from the Manchester. Okay.
The winner of that fight, I think fights Moses Atamu. I'll tell you why, Frank. Because Atamu's promoted by Frank Warren's Queensberry Promotions, and both Wardley and Dubois are promoted by Frank Warren's Queensberry Promotions, so they can make the fight. The fight can be made without a major hassle.
Okay, so Wardley's going to fight Itama. That's going to be a big fight.
Don't count Dubois out completely. Don't dismiss his chances. I mean, how good is Wardley? Let's be honest about it.
Jack, he's got a chin and he's got some power, okay? When has Dubois come through in a big spot? Okay?
Well, he stopped Anthony Joshua. That was
that's a bit my mistake. I forgot about that. But what he came through against a guy who's even more flawed than him in the same department, and he caught him with a nice shot. Okay, Wardley is going to weather the storm, and he's going to stop Dubois after 7 or 8 rounds, I think. I mean, it could end earlier, but
I gotta agree with you because I think Dubois losing the way he did the last fight, we have to wrap it up to Usyk the way he did, probably took something out of him mentally. I gotta feel that. Okay, Frank, a good show over here, and I think you also and myself at some point before this fight are going to have maybe subscribe to the Zone because we're going to want to see this live.
I'm going to want to see this kid. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, everybody. Jack, good show, and we'll talk. I'll talk to you next week.
See ya.